Welcome to the Sports Card Talk Show. To the Sports Card Talk Show. Sports Card Talk Show with Kevin Anderson and Lauren Walker, the Skull Brothers.
Welcome to episode 133 of the Sports Card Talk Show. Got a Friday Night Lights interview tonight.
We have Tyler coming back, joining us. He represented the Falcons way back in the fall for us.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
And he's sikwickedsports.
Yeah, there's his YouTube page there. So definitely check him out, man. Fun stuff and lots of Atlanta and Georgia Southern, is it? And University of Georgia and
he's
Braves and
he supports his local teams for sure.
Totally. I'm excited to dial him up, but get a little trivia in.
Oh yeah, true. I was getting ready to ring-a-ling ding dong.
Yeah, not yet. In 1980, what Vikings QB connected with Ahmad Rashad on a 46-yard TD to beat the Browns in the Miracle at the Met?
2-minute Tommy Kramer.
Yeah. What Gopher freshman winger was named MVP of the 2003 Frozen Four after scoring the game-winning goal in both the semifinal against Michigan and the final against New Hampshire?
2003.
Yep. That's a tough one. You might know it, though.
I'm going to guess Thomas Vanek.
You were right.
Nice.
What National Lacrosse League team called Xcel Energy Center home from 2005 to 2015? So they're looking for the name.
What the hell is that kind of question?
I know. This is a number 2, too.
I'm going to say...
If you really... it wasn't much on our radar, but I do remember like the morning shows talking about it and stuff.
It's not on my radar at all, but I'm going to say it is the Warriors.
It's the Swarm.
Oh, I was going to say, I was actually thinking of saying, I always thought it'd be cool to have a Minnesota team called the Skeeters because we got mosquitoes bad.
Yeah. What outspoken punter from 2005 to 2012 set Vikings record for season and career punting average? That's easy.
Yeah, Mr. Chris Cluey.
Yep. Oh man, not too bad.
No,
lacrosse. I think that's the first time we've ever had a lacrosse.
Ever anything outside of the major four sports? I think.
Yeah, I think it is the first time. Crazy. Well, 3 for 4. That's pretty dang good.
What number was that?
A 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Throwing a 2 on a lacrosse on a 2.
Should we dial up Tyler?
Ring-a-ling ding dong.
All right, we got Tyler dialed up. How are you doing tonight, Tyler?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on again. Glad to be back.
Yeah, we're glad to have you.
It's got to be pretty sweaty down there in Georgia around this time of year, huh?
Yeah, it's really hot. It's not fun, especially, speaking with haven't been out much with all the COVID stuff going on. So, when you do go out and it's 102 degrees, it just hits you a little harder now. So,
I suppose.
And,
no tolerance to it anymore.
Right. And then you get the, 30 minutes ago, we had a random 5-minute rain shower. And so now it's even more humid and just nasty out there. And, it's, cutting grass. Those days are always fun. I make sure to have a beer with me when I do that to make it more enjoyable.
No doubt. So speaking of that, you guys are staying safe and healthy and all that fun stuff? Oh,
yeah, we are. I'm working from home. My wife, where she works, they're going in, but they're not taking any people coming in. So it's all like over the phone or video conferences with them there. But, and just only really going out if we need groceries or, things like that. So.
Right.
But everything's changing. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's for darn sure. Well, should we dive into some cards maybe a little bit and maybe talk about your history in collecting?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man.
With me, I started when I was our early 90s, when I was, about 8 years old is when I actually started collecting. Back then it was, there were no autos, there were no mem cards, there were nothing like that. That really didn't, you rarely saw them in the mid 90s, but then, the mem cards and autos started trending in the late 90s. So, when I played. My favorite was Chipper Jones, and he was and still is my main like focus guy. And I started a couple group of guys that we had. We all traded cards and just big sports guys. Played baseball year round, played travel team. So obviously we wanted to collect cards of our favorite players who we were for sure we were going to grow up to be like and make it to the pros. So,
oh yeah.
we did win me and a couple of my buddies, we did win a state championship later on. So that was a good deal. But,
awesome.
But yeah, we, the 91 tops, grew up around that, the Chipper Jones, my card I still won is the 91 Desert Shield. I won a Chipper.
Oh.
PSA 10 of those are going for about 20,000 right now. So that,
Yikes.
yeah, PSA 10's not in the cards, but just
no,
even a 1 or anything, like I don't care if it has a crease, just something, to have it.
right.
But I just grew up on that and trading and, meeting up, and we didn't have a local card shop. If you went to Walmart or wherever, they may have a pack here or there. And, which, as you all know, the hit potential now isn't that great, but back then, it was all base cards anyway, so it didn't really matter if it was where you got the packs,
right.
And I mean, it's just something that's always been with me, and yeah, I took a break I probably got out in 04, 05, right when I was graduating high school, started college. And, I got back into the hobby and I was just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? I didn't know. I had to Google so many things like LCS, RPA. Like, what is LCS? I don't know what that means. And it was like local card shop. And I was like, oh, well, I don't have one of those. So that's why I don't know what that is, And then it's
we
like,
have them and I still didn't know what that was. I'm like, Lauren,
Yeah.
what LCS? We're working together one day. I'm like, what the heck is an LCS? He's like, I don't know. So we were looking it up too.
Right, yeah, and then it was like RPA, and I was like, "What is RPA?" And then I didn't know it was rookie patch auto. I had no idea.
Right.
I didn't know what a hobby pack was versus a retail pack.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the new collectors today, and the younger kids, they, that's their joy is opening those packs. They don't really know, the advanced, the choices for potentially. Or chances, not choices, but chances of getting a hit in retail are slim. I have seen them popping up with more hits in retail lately, but I think that's just because the hobby's booming so much. They want people to go more. But one thing I don't like, especially with my Target and Walmart, when I do see cards in there, I see, one older guy going in and buying 15, 20 boxes and wiping it out, and then a kid will come up 5 minutes later and can't get a single pack of cards. And I know some people do it as a business, flipping cards, flipping boxes, and if there was ever a time to do that, right now is the time. I mean, people are buying $20 retail like blaster boxes and then selling them for 40 or 60, and people are paying it. So I understand that aspect, but I always don't want to forget, that kids want to do this too. And, they're the future of the hobby. So, keeping them ingrained in it, cause that's how I grew up. We didn't have all the video games and things like that. And I just feel people can collect cards, organize cards, that keeps keeping them out of trouble. And so, but that's where my knowledge went, and just kind of going over that. But I was like you, I'd heard of retail and hobby like when I first started getting back in, but I will say that was because before I started my channel, I actually watched a bunch of YouTubers, and then I was like, I can do this. And and I was out from the time I was 18 until 31. I got back at 31 about 2 years ago, and I was randomly in Target, walking by, and saw baseball, the Fairfield, hit box. It had like 4 packs. One of them was a hobby pack, and then had like a guaranteed auto or something in there.
Yep.
And I was like, man, I haven't bought a cards in a while. Let me do this. And so I bought it, came home, opened it, not expecting much, because I knew it was one hobby pack, and usually those are super low end. With football, it's generally
Right.
always score that you get in those Fairfield. But I was opening the pack and got a Jason Hamill. Not a high end player, but a few years ago he was an all star with the Cubs and all. But pulled a 1-of-1 Memorial Day Platinum Auto,
Wow.
and yeah, and I was like, oh wow, okay. Didn't even know about these 1-of-1s really, because I mean, looking at it now, I mean, with everything serial numbered the way it was, back then, you'd have something that would be short print, but not necessarily serial number, which you kind of see with the Topps Baseball Series 1 and stuff, the super short print. But things that you would have back then, you would have to look at the pack and what are your odds of pulling this, like 1 in 4,000 packs kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but pulling that 1-of-1, I was like, man, this is like really cool. And and then I got a nice Felix Hernandez was the auto in there, and I was like, oh, I know him. That's a decent card,
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You got those 2 cards in a Fairfield box.
Right. Yep. And that's
wow.
Yep. And that's what started me back. And I can say 100% I have hit nothing close to that out of a Fairfield box since.
That's the best pick we've ever heard out of a Fairfield pack. We're kind of shocked here.
Yeah, I mean, I have pulled some autos like out of packs in there. I guess the second best one I'd ever gotten out of a Fairfield, I would say, was a Philip Dorsett rookie auto out of Score. It was out of the hobby pack that came in there, which, and it was one of the Score cards, so it was a variation, which at the time, another thing, me starting up, I didn't know about the variation or this or that, I mean, it's crazy. And another quick thing, I see a lot of people now with the older cards, it'll say like 7 of 12. Well, back then they did the subsets where there were 12 people in this subset, and each person had them. And now they're like, oh man, look at this super short print. I'm like, no, that's just the subset, So
I see that too. I kind of chuckle.
That's a 50-cent card, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just different back in the day, because now, if you have your, with football and things like that, if you have a gold or anything like that, it's its own separate like checklist, and it's not 7 of 12. They're just numbered out of, like the same base set is, so, it was a big shocker, but, once I pulled that 1-of-1, I was like, man, hobbies changed. Like, it's a nice card kind of thing. And that's when I really started watching YouTube channels. And, I was pulling at the time, I was watching Dude Room when he was doing it, and Timmy G was doing it at the time, Packer Cards 87, and PSU Mike, he was one, I was watching. He had just started. We started kind of at the same time, and me and him have gotten close. And then that's when, after watching one of JT's Pack Breaks videos, I was talking with him, and he had mentioned the Card Family group on Facebook, and so he ended up shooting me a link and inviting me to that, and that's where I've really just met a bunch of great people and started, nice friendships and relationships with those guys since then.
Right.
But that's what got me back in the hobby, and I've been back at it ever since then. Like I stated, due to the crazy prices going on right now, and honestly, just like price gouging, and you can't really do anything because Panini has the monopoly in football, Topps in baseball. So whatever people are paying it, they're going to charge it. But I focus on my PCs mainly, Braves, Falcons, and mainly Chipper Jones and Matt Ryan. But that's where I am now.
You told us the year you graduated, so I'm thinking that you're probably just out of diapers when the Twins and the Braves played in the '91 series. So you probably don't remember that, I'm guessing.
I was 5. I have a brief memory. I do, like, I have pictures of me watching it with my dad, like watching the game. So I did watch it, and I do have like very faint memories, but it's more of, I remember looking at the TV kind of thing, not like what happened with the actual game. You know, 'cause, gosh, it was 28 years ago. I was 5 at the time. So.
Quite honestly, I know that whenever they celebrated their 100-year anniversary of World Series, in the first 100 World Series, that was the #1 World Series of all time. Since then, there have been some real classics in the last 20, 30 years that I think it's gotten bumped down a little bit. But yeah, it was an absolutely amazing series. I think almost every single game was won by 1 run. I don't know how many of them went into extra innings. You had the Kirby Puckett walk-off. You had in the game 6, and Jack Morris going. Jack and John Smoltz, who was a rookie at the time, going toe-to-toe for 9 scoreless innings in game 7. I mean, it was just it was a great heartbreak. Yeah. And then also in one of the games, you also had this is the bobblehead that I just picked up a little bit ago.
Oh, nice.
The Kent Herbeck pulling Ron Gant off of first base for an out.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of my most expensive pieces, card or otherwise.
I hear you.
I was eyeing one up for a long time, and I'm like, you know what? No better time than now. There was no real cards in my Target, in my sites. So I went and pulled the trigger on that thing. That was a few months ago, but
did you happen to keep some cards from your younger collecting days, or did you have to start all over?
I did, and I went through a lot of them, and I hate to say it, but I did not take care of them as I should. When you're younger and just trading them, you didn't really think about it. But dings on the corner, so you couldn't even trade those or sell them now. Right. But I did go through, and I did find some that I'd put in top loaders, and then I had some that I put in top loaders with no sleeve, and I was like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? But back then, it was hard enough trying to get a pack of cards. Much less trying to get the supplies for it as well.
I feel like it was maybe it was just our age at the time, but I didn't take care of them like I should have, for sure.
Yeah, and you hear stories about back in the day, when it used to come, with the gum, people would buy it for the gum or this or that. They would just put baseball cards in the spokes of bike tires to make it rattle. I hear a lot of stories about that.
Oh yeah,
we've had guys come on and say that they rubber banded their cards to bring them to school and stuff like that. And that those rubber bands leave a crease in the edge.
Oh yeah.
But we had one of our guests, and we were just, we got to live the innocence of the hobby. Like kids nowadays, we've watched it where I've watched. I know that I've seen on videos the dads going, "Be careful with that," and it's like, our parents never told us to be careful with them because when we were young, our parents didn't think that we were going to get rich off these things someday or whatever,
Right. They just wanted you to play with something and shut up and leave them alone.
I know my dad would tell me stories about him and his friends going to the store for the bubble gum and throwing the cards in the ditch.
Yeah.
And he was born in 1936, so this was probably in the 40s and 50s, and I just think about the cards he was throwing in of course, easy to say now, but it's like, wow.
Yeah. And that's why, for me, man, it's so hard. Like, you see a lot of guys sell and stuff, and I'm trying to get better at it. But, when I get cards or something even non-PC, it's like.
It's that time again. The Road to 1,000 giveaway, another opportunity.
Do you want to show off the cards first, or do you want me to? Okay, so the way you're going to enter into this one is Tyler mentioned that how we got back in the hobby was a Fairfield pack that he hit a 1 of 1. We want you to incorporate 1 of 1 in your comment. Just put 1 of 1 somewhere in your comment.
And then we have 4 cards. We have a Matt Ryan certified materials, a Harry Douglas rookie card autographed, a Devontae Freeman rookie collection patch there, and a Roddy White throwback relics. So again, just hit, say 1 of 1 in your comments somehow.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, what happens if he's good in 10 years? Maybe this card goes up. So
Right.
I've got a ton, and I think the wife's ready for me to move some of them out because I got it's taken up pretty much the whole office. So
Funny how that works.
yeah. So
Man, it adds up quick. I know I've gotten some non-PC cards that are pretty decent recently, and I'm like, I really should just sell them. I mean, I'm not, but I'm like, kind of like you. I'm like, well, what if they blow up? That rookie quarterback auto might be kind of nice to have it in 6 months, you know?
Yeah, and that's like me. I had a Lamar Jackson RPA, and won it in a Raz for like $7, and ended up selling it for like 80, and it was like, all right, great, I made a bunch of money, but and I'll be honest, like I was one, I watched him play in college. Wasn't really high on his passing game. Didn't know how durable he would be. And that durability is still out there, but like, I didn't see him blowing up to like an MVP player like he did, and so that's why I was like, let me sell it while it's hot. Well, if I would have held on to it, I could sold it for 400. But
sure,
it's like you never know. I mean, but
yep.
I made money on it, so I try not to look back too much on those.
That is definitely the scary part about him is that his playing style could equal a short career, and as hot as he is right now, people forget about it. He'll be the next Michael Vick.
Yeah, just like Cam.
I honestly, Michael Vick was a heck of a lot of fun to watch when 20 years ago. And I should really get a card of him. I don't know. I honestly don't know how much those things go for, but I'm guessing.
Yeah, his aren't too expensive, actually. You can get like a Contenders auto of his rookie Contenders. I've seen 150-ish, which isn't bad. Sure. I used to have one, but I ended up selling it to add on. It was either Chipper or Matt Ryan to my PCs. So even though he is a Falcons guy, there was a specific like 1 of 1 card that I wanted, and I think it was Matt Ryan, and I was like, I need this.
Right.
And, there are more autos out there of him that I can get later, but this 1 of 1 may never come up again. So
yeah, you got to nab it when you can.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so
awesome. That's kind of where I'm at.
You saw it, and it became a holy grail card right then and there. Huh?
Yeah, and because with me, it was the Obsidian. I love the Obsidian cards.
Yeah, those are great.
And I have the Tunnel Vision and the Aurora autographs 1 of 1 Black Finites.
Oh, so, those are nice.
Yeah, so that's my favorite brand right now. Just the way the cards look and all. I wanted to get some of the draft picks because I'm a Georgia guy and Georgia Southern as well, and with Fromm, Swift, and Warner, Reed. You got those guys in there, and they had some nice patches and in their college unis, which some people don't like. But if it's my PC guys, I really want. Yeah. I'd rather have my Georgia Bulldogs guy in his Georgia uniform instead of like Sony Michel and his Patriots. So
for sure, yeah. Unless they end up on the Falcons, you'd rather have the college uni, I'm guessing.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And with now like Falcons signing Gurley, I'm just a little kid in a candy store. Now I got my Georgia and Falcons guy here.
I never even made that connection until you mentioned it. But obviously, you're tied more closer to that situation than I am.
Oh yeah.
That's cool that he's going back home.
Oh yeah. Excited to see what he can do if we have a season, with everything shooting up with the Marlins, and you talk about baseball, it's a lot easier to stay 6 feet apart, and follow those mandates in football where you're physically manhandling someone, like you're all over them, especially linemen, they're getting every play.
They're breathing in each other's faces hard.
Right, and sweat and everything else. But
I'll be curious to see if they can pull it off. I'm not convinced on any of them, to be honest with you. I don't know if any of them will make it all the way through. They might try, but I just don't know how they're going to make it all the way.
Kevin's actually asked me. We're commissioners of 2 fantasy football leagues, and he's like, "Should we just cancel the season now because the NFL's gonna or something like that?" I'm like,
"Well, to worry about it because I'm like, I don't want to deal with having to try and pay everybody back if it doesn't. What happens if it doesn't finish? Like, I don't even know if I want to deal with it. My whole team has got COVID. What am I supposed to do? I'm like, I don't know."
Yeah. You're the GM. Figure it out.
yeah. Good luck, I guess.
Yeah, we were dealing with the same thing with baseball. I generally do baseball and football. Last year I was in 8 fantasy football leagues, and that was a bit too much for me. Usually I'm around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who to root for last year. I was like, I got this guy on this team, whatever. But with baseball, we had to keep pushing the draft back, and then it was all right. Then you still had people opting out, and it was it was tough drafting. I mean, people like that are still out, like Juan Soto. He was a high draft pick, and he hasn't played yet, and he's recovering, so he should be back soon. But with 60 games, your whole draft strategy has to change around that.
Yeah, I heard Trout was on the fence, and so he was slipping in drafts.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah, he was, and I mean, it's tough. I mean, I haven't joined any leagues as of now. I mean, I have one. I'm a commissioner in with my some of my friends back home, and I haven't activated it or anything yet because it's just like I just want to see what happens first. But like you said before, committing to anything.
Yeah, and I'm nervous because I already had one person. When's the draft? I'm like, well, we don't even know if it's happening yet.
Right.
I'm like, I haven't put that much thought into it yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they just reported,
Yep.
With me, I prefer to wait on football drafts until the night before season opener because, it might not be as much now with the preseason being axed, but still, you have people with season-ending ACL tears in practice. If it's your first-round draft pick, that really hurts. So if you wait, until right before the season starts, then who's injured at that time.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. So been watching quite a few of your recent ones, and I know that you got a pretty sweet PC helmet. If you want to talk about that a little bit and show it off, I want to see it again. I ended up buying a helmet after watching Snodzilla and Smith Island do their big opening. I ended up buying an Adam Thielen helmet. So I want to check out the helmet you got.
Yeah, so I was, Smith Island, he kind of put it together. Me and him have been chatting a lot, but he got with the card family with our group. And I was looking to actually get that helmet from him. And then my dog, my German Shepherd Lyric, she decided that it was time to get injured. And so we had to, yeah, she's a mess. She has bad allergies, separation anxiety, everything.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, she ended up getting like a hematoma. They had to, do surgery, put a tube in her ear, things like that. And it ended up costing like almost $1,000. And I was like, well, we're going to have to put a halt on that. And, shortly after he reached out and was like, hey, I got a package on the way. Just wanted to send you something, care package, from some of us with the card family. I was like, oh, thanks. That's much appreciated. And, then in the package came like this massive box. I was like, no, he didn't. Like, come on, And then there was another package, and it had 2 cards, like flawless cards of Georgia Bulldogs players. And he said, well, everybody pitched in. We had a little extra, so we put that towards coming to you. And I mean, like I said, just a great bunch of guys. If there's anything like that happens, people put, money together, or, time, or anything, just reaching out. And but yeah, let me grab this bad boy real quick.
Alrighty.
I got it in a nice case. So,
and I'm going to make you full screen when we do this here.
all right, so it's this.
Oh, that is a nice case.
Yeah, Nick Chubb. It's got
Yep. That's awesome.
the auto there. And yeah, I mean, just a beauty. And I was shocked. I was just not ready for that. And like I said, that just goes to the character. It shows how the character of those guys, and the friendships that we've made. And it's true friendships, strong friendships, that it isn't just about cards. I mean, that people reaching out to me, hey man, I hope your dog gets better. Like, people I've never met, but we talk, and it's like,
yep.
Thanks. I mean, you did not have to take the time to do that, but it is much appreciated. And so that's one thing, even though the hobby's gotten so expensive and things like that, I've adjusted, but just something to stay in, just to, build on those relationships and share the hobby. As stated earlier, you don't have to go out and buy these boxes that are going up like crazy. And that's one thing I'm going to work on, is kind of making videos and tailor them to what you can afford and what you can do.
Sure.
I mean, just even the subscription boxes, Brothers and Cards, they went up from $80 to $150 a box. And I understand, the business standpoint, they're wanting to get better packs, in those boxes, but it's still, $150 is a lot. And with those, there's no guaranteed hit like there are with hobby boxes. So,
right.
You can buy a really, really nice card for $150.
Yeah, and that's
a card that you want too, like a PC card versus you might get a even better card in that box, but it may not be a guy that you like or collect.
Yeah, I bought 2 1-of-1 autos of Matt Ryan, for less than $150.
Right.
Combined. I mean, because he's undervalued. But he was MVP. He's got great numbers. I mean, you look at his stats, and it's crazy. And I think if they would have won that Super Bowl, his cards would be a lot more valuable. But we're hoping he gets one soon. But I mean, even with Brothers and Cards, the boxes, especially basketball, has gotten so high. After this month, they're not even doing basketball for the foreseeable future because they're putting them on halt. I mean, because even retail is like, to try and buy retail, it's just ridiculous. I mean,
unless you get lucky and be the one at the store.
Right. I mean, like Hoops, which is a low end product, which you used to be able to get packs for like $4, $5. Now it's like $14, $15 packs. It's like,
I feel like Kevin was buying those at the Dollar Tree or something.
Well, that was early. But those boxes, I remember I was like, $90 for a box of hoops? There's no way I'd spend that. And now they're like $300 or $400.
Right. And it's,
man, I guess I should have bought one of those.
And I mean, I get that the craze is, Zion and Ja and all. And I don't collect basketball right now. I used to be big into basketball, but I'm a huge Duke fan. I went to basketball camp there when I was in high school, things like that. So I do love Duke. One of my favorite players is JJ Redick. But I still follow it, and occasionally check in on the hobby. And I did buy, randomly, just because I haven't ever opened any on my channel, I got a Brothers and Cards basketball box and ended up pulling this, which at the time,
let me pull you up here.
Yeah, let's see. Well, it's a little.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
But it's
yeah,
it's you can't really tell in this one, but it's the NBA City. It's the Hollow, and when when I was going back and looking up prices on those basketball cards, it was like saw they've been selling for like $150. It's like,
I just opened a box on our live of Optic basketball, a couple of them, and I hit a LeBron hollow. And I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good card. And everybody's like, that's a $200 card. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, dude, I think you might. I think that box might have paid for itself. Yeah, and I'm thinking it's like a $20 or $30 card. And he actually like got a box because Kevin's opened a few boxes, and it's like, oh my goodness, that was $40 you just threw away.
Yeah.
It's kind of, though, enjoy the hobby the way you want to enjoy it. I know you're a major singles buyer, but if you enjoy open.
Yeah.
Speaking of things getting expensive, I noticed on your channel you talk a lot about fire sales, and I'm sure most everybody knows what a fire sale is, but why don't you talk about that a little bit and how you were able to? I mean, it seemed like one video you just kept saying, I got this one, I got this one, I got this one. I'm like, dang, you have a lot of cards.
Yeah, so in some Facebook groups I'm in, there's the Sports Card Family Fire Sales group. We have, there's some other Facebook groups I'm in as well that do fire sales. But generally, it's guys, like me that have way too many cards but don't get rid of them, and then they finally unload them. And less than eBay comps. Sometimes it's like 10 cent a card, for a rookie card here or an insert or anything like that. To me, 10 cent for an insert is worth it,
Yeah.
And, so what they do, they'll just post a bunch of cards like 25 cents each, $1 each, and it's, you just, everybody in that Facebook group can go through and claim it, and whoever claims it first, gets the card at that price. But yeah, I've gotten, like 50 cards, of inserts, parallels, serial numbers of, stars, not like, Joe Schmo from, 1994 who had one at bat, like it's
right.
It's like short print, like for like out of 10 for $1, out of 25 for, 75 cents or $1. And,
yeah. That sounds better than ComC.
Yeah. And it's just people, because a lot of the groups I'm in, it's, we want the cards to go to their rightful place, so if you, so you'll give them a better deal, because, they're not going to go out and try and resell it for higher, so they'll just, always below eBay comps, if not right at it, so, but it's a great way to pick up some cards for your PC. And I even got some great cards that aren't PC items, but I got a bunch of Fernando Tatis Jr. rookie cards, for like $1 or $2 a piece. And, just they're ones that I'm looking at grading and, holding on to for long term, because I believe he's a phenomenal athlete. And, but those fire sales are great to add cards, and then I pick up some in Raz's, and, Raz is where, guy puts, hey, this $50, I'm going to do 10 spots, $5 a piece, top spot wins it. And you do a, you random it on random.org. So, less chance that you would get the card, but you may be able to get a nice card for $5, or $10. So I'll show one off I got. Now this is one of mine that I got in a Raz. It's a Warren Spahn 1954 Topps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I got that to go with the autographed baseball that I got. And I think I bought one spot at $5.50 and won that, and, so paid $5.50 for a 1954 Topps Warren Spahn Hall of Famer, card. So.
Yeah, can't go wrong there.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I've gotten in plenty where I bought like 3 or 4 spots, and didn't get it. Like, oh man, but
it's definitely a chance. It's not really a chance, really.
Our friend who owns one of our local card shops, he says he'll go in and buy every spot available on some of those Raz's thing, because if let's say it's $50 and he's like, the card's worth more than that. So if he can buy all 10, he'll just buy all 10 spots. But if there's only 7 spots left, he'll buy all the 7 left. And I'm like, thinking, man, that's $35 you're throwing at, one of those other 3 guys or 3 spots could win. That would be rough,
Yeah.
You obviously up your chances of winning, but that would be hard if you if you bought 7 and still lost.
Yeah, I've done that, and I've definitely dealt with some where I've one spotted. So I claim one spot out of the 10, and somebody's taking 7 and don't win, and they are not happy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I got posted in one of the groups a Todd Gurley UGA Contenders auto out of 99.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a 9.5 BGS, so already graded everything.
Oh.
And it was like he had put it at like 10 at 7, and I was like, all right. And I sent him a message, and he was like, yeah, if you want to buy it outright, I'll sell it to you for I think it was 65 or 60 or 65. And like I said, now he's a UGA and Falcons player. So
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. You know what's I'm a humongous Teddy Bridgewater fan. I loved him as soon as the Vikings drafted him, and then he disappeared off the face of the planet for a few years. I absolutely loved that time of my life because I was getting to buy all the Teddies I wanted for cheap. And now they're expensive again because he's a starter, and I don't get to win my Teddy. I'm like, and I don't want to pay. I'm already like, I used to buy that car. I'm not paying more than what I used to pay for it. So I'm like,
right.
Guess you're not buying anymore though.
Yeah,
times have changed.
I've got boxes and boxes of Teddy Bridgewater cards, so I don't need anymore. But I still look and want.
Why not, right?
Right.
That's how it is for Gurley right now. I mean, 2 years ago, his cards were at the peak, and now it's, he had, the knee issues, and, I'm hoping this, COVID extended time off, and him being back home will get him back up. But I mean, you're getting cards for, a quarter of what they were selling for 2 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it.
That was, I guess, the point. I forgot to get back around to the point I was making is you got to be super excited to be able to. You've probably been able to pick up some girlies that you never thought you were going to ever grab a year or two ago for pretty cheap.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's part of the game. You deal with injuries and that. I mean, and what happened with Teddy's situation? I mean, he. Non-contact practice is what I think is what they said, and just shredded his knee, and you hate to see that, but I'm excited to see what he does. I don't want him to do too well because he's in the Falcons division, so we already got to deal with Brady and Breeze now too.
Yeah.
So there's enough good quarterbacks. So I want him to have a great season, just not against the Falcons. So.
He can have a great season as long as there's not a lot of team success, right?
There you go. That'd be even better.
Maybe they'll be
a 6-team win. 6-win team. That's good.
Now that Rivera's left the team, maybe their defense will have a backslide, and they'll be the new New Orleans Saints where they're losing games like 45-38 or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because McCaffrey's going to get his yardage and touchdowns. He's a beast. I remember when those photos came out of him, at training camp before last year. If he bulked up, I was like, good Lord.
Yeah.
I told Kevin, I'm like, you watch DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel are going to have career years this year because Teddy is not going to fill up the highlight reels with, Pat Mahomes or Lamar Jackson type plays, but he knows how to put the ball on the numbers, and he's very smart and just a precise passer. So he's going to put the ball in those guys' and both those guys are playmakers. So I think you're going to.
Lauren's in love again.
I am. I never was out of love, man.
Kool-Aid hard.
Cam's never been, the most accurate passer. And I was reading an article a while back. I don't remember the exact percentage, but the on-target throws that he was giving to his receivers were bottom of the league. So if you have someone who comes in and can be, the top half of the league, it makes a big difference in the NFL. If you're off by, a foot on your throw, that's a huge difference, where if you're hitting them in the hands every time. And Teddy's definitely a more accurate passer for sure. And it's one of those success stories I'm a big fan of, which is I've recently started a Kurt Warner PC as well because I remember back in the day the greatest show on turf, and it was he went from bagging groceries to, all pro, Super Bowl champion, now Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's a fun story.
Yeah, so I'm a sucker for those stories, and try to get cards of those guys.
The Vikings were the '98 season when the Dirty Birds killed my Vikings. I thought the Vikings were ascending, and then after that, it was the St. Louis Rams. So I couldn't stand Warner and Falk and Holt and Bruce being called the greatest show on turf. I thought the Vikings were the greatest show on turf, and so I resented them. And yeah, after my spite has resided, I definitely love Kurt Warner and Marshall Falk nowadays.
Yeah, they were certainly fun to watch, and I do remember those Vikings team after '98 with Culpepper and Moss and Carter, and just kind of lighting it up as well. I had a bunch of still do a bunch of Dante Culpepper rookie cards because he came out slinging it. When you have Carter and Moss, it definitely helps.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Tyler, we know we have to be respectful of your time. You're being very generous, but so we'll bring it up to a close pretty soon here. Is there anything that you want to bring up, talk about, or if you want to tell people how to reach you? We kind of talked about your YouTube channel already, but
yeah, I have YouTube, Sick Wicked Sports, and it's the same for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I don't post as much on Twitter. I'm more of an Instagram and, guy there, but, working on doing some different kind of videos with, like I said, the hobby being so expensive, it's just not in the cards for me especially with COVID. You need to save your money because we don't know how long this is going to be going on.
Right.
And so, spending $250 on a box of cards. So I may make some videos. Yeah, I may make some videos showing off my PC, or
those are always
just bundling up some single card pickups and making a nice mail day kind of thing. Just trying to be creative with it, and I work overnight, so it's generally when I'm awake during the day, I don't have a lot of time to make videos, so I try to do it all at once because we got 2 young kids, so I want to spend time with them and the wife when I am awake during the day.
For sure.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you plan on evolving your channel versus, we've heard a lot of guys say it's gotten too expensive, I'm stepping away for a while. And it's like, don't step away, evolve. So I think I'm glad to hear that.
Oh yeah. I love going through my cards and just looking at them and organizing them. Like, I could sit back here and do that. And, I still have a big Chipper Jones PC, and, I recently got like a 2,000 card lot of Chipper Jones that I'm going through and organizing. And I have an Excel spread, Google Doc spreadsheet that I have. So I keep track of each card that I have, to make sure, if I do go out and buy a new one, and make sure I don't buy a duplicate.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just, trying to stay in the hobby and enjoy it because I do like seeing other people's collection and seeing more. And one of my goals is to get back into watching more videos, of other YouTubers. I just, time has been, work. We are still working. I work for E-Trade, and stock market isn't closing, so we're working, and just between working a little bit of overtime here and there, it's time consuming. So
raising a couple little kids is a full-time job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So but yeah, that's my plan for the channel, and like I said, I want to evolve too. And another thing I've been considering doing is during the COVID-19 thing, maybe veering away from cards just to put out some content. Like my wife and I did like an indoor date night where we did some canvas paintings, and little things like that, just to put out for other people who are going through the same thing, like date night ideas, and show what we do, but still going to be mainly cards, 100%, but just have the outlier. Yeah. Have an outlier here and there because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And it is stressful.
Yeah. My daughter and I did splatter painting with canvas. We put out a tarp and just was whipping it in there. She has hers up in her room. She's all proud of it. She did a really good job. And I actually used mine to take some pictures one time. I don't know if anybody realized it, but it was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. Well, I know we're up against it. We'll let you go if you hang on for the line for 1 second. We'll just bring it to a close.
Okay.
Episode 133 with Tyler at Sick Wicked Sports. Thank you for your time.
Skol Brothers out.